If you're evaluating LMS platforms for HR right now, here is something most software comparisons won't tell you. The best LMS for HR is usually not the one with the most features, but it's the one that your team can actually run. Because I've seen expensive enterprise platforms sit unused simply because there were too many complex things and features for lean HR teams to manage. And I've seen simpler tools that outperformed them because enrollment was automated, the reporting made sense, and obviously the people actually used the system. That's what the video is about. Not about the funniest, flashiest sort of platforms, but the best LMS options for HR teams in 2026. Especially if you are managing onboarding, compliance, and employee development without a dedicated L&D admin. If you're researching options right now, I link the full comparisons article in the description below. Let's start what actually matters when HR chooses an LMS because it's different from what matters to a large L&D department. First, integrations. Your LMS shouldn't create extra manual admin work. It should connect to your HR systems, use employee data to automate things like enrollment, learning path, some compliance assignments, reminders, and so on and so forth. And second, it is automation, which we already mentioned, but this is huge. If every onboarding is done absolutely manual, that could create a problem. So you would love to have as many different automations as possible to reduce the workload. The third one is definitely compliance training. Deadlines, audit logs, reporting. This what matters whenever there is compliance. And the LMS should handle these sort of things. And definitely, we don't want to be writing up all the spreadsheets by ourselves. The fourth thing is a reporting that non-technical team can use. And I do believe it is essential to have LMS where you don't need a group of technical specialists to understand how to set up things, how to create courses, and how in generally to manage the learning management system. So this is what you would like to try and see whether the LMS feels easy and user friendly for you. Fifth one is a learner experience. Definitely, employees, if they don't engage with training, the rest doesn't really matter. And before we get into the platforms, there is one trap that I would avoid at any cost, and it is overbuying. Unfortunately, a lot of HR teams they end up looking for some enterprise systems which definitely would cost much more. And yeah, definitely it's something that you would need to use for some huge programs and scalable large organizations. But whenever you are in the mid-size, definitely you would want to use something less functions overloaded. And there that's where a lot of implementations also go wrong. Now, let's look at some strong options that HR can pick up in 2026. Number one candidate is EducateMe. If you are a lean HR team and you want something modern, fast to launch, and practical to manage, then this is something that I would put high on the short list. What stands out is the way how it can combine different sort of internal training such as onboarding, upskilling, and compliance training as well. Plus, whenever we take a look at the features, it stands very high on the AI tools, analytics, and also the all necessary integrations for HR systems. For example, you can use the AI assistant to build courses and your AI role plays for learners to build the soft skills or do the role based training, such as support or sales one. And also, I do like the automation feature because it would definitely provide and reduce all the overload from your shoulders. And another cool thing to mention is the support, which you would have some L&D sessions and also priority support for admins. And it is very helpful to have content migration and setup assistant inside of EducateMe. And yeah, definitely if your HR team needs structure without enterprise complexity, this is definitely a strong option to go with. Another option is Workday Learning. If your company already runs on Workday, this naturally belongs in this conversation. And its biggest strength is native integration and also employee data, skills, compliance assignments, all tied into your broader HCM setup. For enterprise teams, they also have different HR solutions, which matters. And yeah, just to keep in mind, it's much more infrastructure than many mid-sized teams need. And sometimes it might feel like a heavyweight software. However, it depends whether that level of complexity serves your use case. Cornerstone is another enterprise worth mentioning, especially if you're thinking beyond training into performance, succession, and broader talent development. It's a really talent suite, not just like an LMS. For smaller HR teams, it may be too much. However, for enterprise talent strategy, it often makes sense to go with the Cornerstone. Plus, definitely it provides different kind of solutions, which especially very nice having some AI fluency and dynamic workforce planning. And of course, for the mid-market teams, TalentLMS deserves attention. I like this one because it tends to be quite practical, fast launch, easy to use, strong enough for onboarding compliance and skills training without some long implementation cycles. However, if your priority to start quick, go with Talent LMS. Sometimes it also might feel a little bit outdated in terms of interface. However, still a shot to shoot. Another interesting one is 360 learning, especially if your organization wants subject matter expert inside the business contributing to training. Still good for compliance, employee onboarding, and also some frontline staff trainings. And if collaborative model something that you're looking for, then this is something that can help HR teams avoid becoming content bottlenecks in this sort. Different approach, but very useful in the right environment for sure. So, which LMS is right for your HR team? It depends on what problem you're solving. If you need onboarding, compliance, and upskilling in a quite modern LMS, then Educate Me is worth looking at first. If you're already deep in Workday or SAP, staying within that ecosystem may make sense. If speed and simplicity matter, then Talent, LMS, or Litmus may might be a better fit. If enterprise scale or extended audiences matter, the Chiba or Cornerstone could be stronger options. But whatever platform you evaluate, I'd pressure these three questions. Can your team realistically run without adding some admin burden? If it could automate manual work that you're doing today, and will employee actually engage with the learning experience? It makes training easier to run and more effective if you know the answers to this. And if you want the full breakdown of all 10 platforms, also with some pricing comparison and which tools fit different HR team sizes, then we have linked the full article in the description below. That's it. We also have included the demo link to Educate Me there if you want to book it. If it was helpful, subscribe for more practical L&D and learning tech, HR, L&Ds, strategy, tools, and so on. And we will see you in another video.